Testing, testing. Sweet, it's working. I'm gonna get started in a minute or two. Just getting things set up over here. Okay, let's just turn the webcam on here so you can all see me. Hopefully catching my good side tonight. Hey everyone. It's Adam here. Good evening. Happy Thursday. It is April 11th. And man, there's so much going on right now. I want to talk a bit about a summer trip I've been planning since, well, a while now. It's been like, trying to think out loud, probably since this time last year. Um, I started planning this trip, and the trip was all Heather's idea. It started off with hi Kyle, and by the way, the stream is 20 seconds delayed, so I'm gonna say hi, but you'll see, you'll hear it 20 seconds after your message comes in. So Heather had this idea after she got pregnant. She got pregnant after we knew she was expecting a baby in October. She's like, I was maybe a little bit more doom and gloom about like becoming a father. Not that it wasn't planned or anything, but I was just like, oh man, you gotta sell the motorcycles. And everyone I talk to at rallies is always like, oh, you must not have kids because you have all these hobbies and you're doing all this fun stuff. And a lot of them say that they stopped riding when they had their first kid and then picked back up riding after their kids were out of college. And that's like the standard story I've heard from like more than dozens of people have told me that. Like, oh, you're going to stop riding at like 35 and then you'll pick back up when you're 55 or 60. And we all do it. And so far, hasn't happened. In fact, I bought a new motorcycle with Matilda, who is 6 months old. So I don't know. I think having balance, being able to commit to your family, but also carve out you time. It's really healthy. And also just having the means to not have to scrimp and save. You can still have a kid and still get motorcycles, just maybe cheaper ones over time. So anyway, been working on this trip for a while now. I started thinking last year that I wanted to do the Trans-America Trail. And I think everyone here is familiar with the Trans-America Trail, right? Let me go and switch over to my streaming software here. Do I have the tab in here? Yeah, I do. Sweet. Let's do this. Nope, that's not it. Let's do window capture. Right. And nope, not that one. Not display capture. Nope. Let's fix this here. I had this actually set up before the stream started. Pete's sake. Oh, here we go. I gotta do edit and then choose window capture, edit. It's choosing my cursor. There we go. Base camp. We want to capture base camp. Perfect. And I'm just gonna make sure that looks okay on our side here. So it's streaming live. I'm watching the playback here. So yeah, you should see base camp right now and you should see my face. Um, the TAT is Trans-America Trail. It runs from, you can ride it from North Carolina or Oregon to Oregon or vice versa. There's also a couple of different TAT extensions, like one down to SoCal, one up to New York. And I thought it'd be so cool to ride the TAT, and it's like 3 weeks or so, 3 or 4 weeks. And it looks like the video's working good now. And that was initially the plan. And I was even going to do it on the Huskies. The GS was getting a little bit old. 2018 GS was getting older, and I'm like, I don't really want to ride across country with it. Some of the TAT sections can be kind of hard. I don't know why I thought that, because I've done like a lot of BDRs, Northeast BDR, Mid Atlantic, and Colorado BDR on a fully loaded GS. I've done Moab on the GS. I don't know why I said that out loud, but I was going to do the 701. It's kind of built for that, and ride to Oregon. Had the bike shipped back some point summer of 2024, and then um, an opportunity came up, and that opportunity was that the BMW MOA is having their rally in Oregon. Actually, let me pull the tab up. Just like, can I view this on map? Show contents on map. There we go. That's the TAT right there. So you can kind of see, I can zoom in here. You can see how you got North Carolina, which is really kind of, I live right here in Charlotte area on the right-hand side, but riding it all the way out, splitting and then going north into Nevada and then Oregon. The MOA rally this year, that's in June 13th through 17th, is here in Bend, in the dead center of the screen there. So I thought to myself, like, oh well, I'll just ride the TAT out from May, and then go to the MOA rally in Bend, and then get the bike shipped back. But the problem is, to make it to the MOA rally in by June 13th, I would have had to leave like mid-May. And the issue is a lot of the Colorado mountain passes wouldn't have been ready. So I thought, okay, well, shift the bike to Oregon, ride the other way around. Totally would have worked. But then Heather was like, well, let's back up here. Like if you load up all of these BDRs, is that all of them? Can I just do all these? There we go. She's like, if you load up all of these BDRs on um, the West Coast, so Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, she's like, all these are like right there. These are all rides that you want to do. You've talked about them for a long time. Why don't you just do all these BDRs? And I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Now I have to ship the bike both directions because I've only budgeted like 3 weeks of paid time off to do this. And the whole time, actually, it's funny because she was thinking like, oh, this is great. Adam's gonna go on this 3 or 4 week ride. I'm gonna be in New Hampshire with my family, so I'll just hang out while Adam does this. So no big deal on my part. She's excited. She's stoked about this. She gets to take the baby up to New Hampshire, have somewhere at the lake at our lake house, and I'll get to do this other stuff. So she doesn't care what I do, as long as I have enough work time off. So started looking at the map, and then I asked a few friends, like, okay, well, anything else, any events going on between June and July that I should note? And someone said, well, there's Dust to Dawson, and you guys see where this is going. If you go up here to the Yukon and you zoom into Yukon, Dawson City is around here somewhere. I'm sure someone is like, it's right there. Just zoom in. Dawson City is around. I think it's around here. Is this it? Yeah, Dawson City is right here in the Yukon. See if I can drop a thing there. No, I can't. So dead center of the Yukon is Dawson City. There's a Dust to Dawson event. I've heard about it. I've wanted to go, and it starts the week after the MOA rally ends. Cool, but the problem is I don't want to ride the 701 that far. So I set out to budget and start saving up and like started putting things in motion to buy a new GS for this trip. And then Heather was like, well, let's just keep exploring, keep thinking about rides you want to do. Do you want to do like Prudhoe Bay? Do you want to do Anchorage? Do you want to do, somewhere else? And so we got to talking, and she said, "Why don't you do Prudhoe Bay?" And I looked at some research, and I said, that's fun and all, but it's probably mostly paid. I want a little more adventure, so I thought I would do Tuck up here. And plus, this road just opened, 3 or 4 years ago, and it's a little bit more wild, more grizzlies, more caribou, more animals, less services. Kind of my whole thing is just get as far away out in nature as possible. So started thinking about that, and I said, well, okay, well, after I do, zoom back out here, after I do Oregon up to Tuck, and then back south again, um, then what do I do? And I've only really taken 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I remembered that back in, sorry, I'm talking a little loud here. Back when 2, 3 years ago, Harry and I wanted to do a trip. This trip was going to involve my pickup truck, the 690, his 690, and my 701, driving out to New Mexico, and then Heather would fly into Albuquerque. Did I have that right here? Let's see. Yeah, this is it. So basically, the trip would involve us flying out, driving out to like Albuquerque or one of these areas, Heather flying out, and then or Tucson. We'd pick her up in the truck, and also she at some point said, "I'll probably have a baby with me too," wants to make it a baby trip. She's aspirational that way. So we'd drive out, she would fly out, and then she would take the truck from Tucson, and she would do Grand Canyon, she would do Four Corners, she would do Yellowstone, and then she would do Salt Lake City, and then Glacier, and then she would leave the truck in Calgary for us, and then we would ride the bikes north. And if we broke down and had to rent a truck and a trailer, fine, we'd be on our own. And so we would take 3 weeks to do the Continental Divide. Continental Divide is basically the point where the rivers, the water flows east and west. It's the Rocky Mountains basically, the Continental Divide. It's self-explanatory. The Appalachian Mountains are also another Continental Divide, so there are kind of two of them in the U.S. The way the water flows. And fun fact, actually, the Appalachian mountain range goes all the way up to Newfoundland. You didn't know that up in Gross Moor, it's like still part of the Appalachian Mountains if you're following the fault lines. So she said, "Why don't you do the Continental Divide?" And I said, "Okay, hold on. If I'm going all the way to like Dawson City and doing like Prudhoe Bay or Tuck, and then going south and doing the Continental Divide was already going to be 3 weeks." And so we put our heads together, talked to my work, and how long have we been streaming so far? A few minutes? 15 minutes, okay. Put our heads together, and she said, make the trip you want to make, pitch it to your boss and your manager, or whoever else, and work it out. Like see what you can make happen with your paid time off and other various leave and stuff. She said, because once Matilda is in elementary school, sure, we'll still have summers, but it's going to be like family trip stuff. And she doesn't want me to. This is really like a husband-wife conversation about marrying the right person. She doesn't want me to do this trip when I'm 50 and 60. When Matilda is 20 years old, I'll be 58 years old. And so, yeah, 58 years old. And she's like, I don't want you to do this trip when you're 58. I want you to do it when you're like 38, 37. And so she's like, make the trip you want and just see if work will approve it. And so I did. And here's what we've worked out. June 1st. That's why I'm doing this bike modifications really fast, by the way. And there's still a lot of bike modifications that are coming. There's tons of stuff coming that's like in the pipeline. It's like 30 videos queued up. The bike will be finished in 4 weeks, mid-May. I have a 500, 600 mile camping trip planned where I will test out all the gear. I'll basically test out the setup that I'm going to use. And then let me go back to the webcam view for a second. Test out the setup I'm going to use for this trip. Then take the wheels over to the BMW dealer and put Moto Z Tractionator GPSs on it, I think. Whatever their like 80/20 tires are, on-road, off-road tires. And thanks Moto Z for sponsoring this trip. They gave me a very small coupon towards their tires, and I really appreciate those tires arrive on Tuesday. Once the tires are on the bike, I haul it in the truck over to BMW in Greenville, North Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, put it onto a BMW trailer, and then I've hitched a ride on the BMW trailer out to Oregon for the MOA rally. I think they're charging me for it, but it's way less than hiring a shipping company. So MOA rally, it's rally.bmwmoa.org. You should buy a ticket. It's in Redmond, Oregon. It's June 13th through 17th, I believe. Once the rally ends on the 17th, I will be hopping on the bike. And after 17 minutes of me talking, here is the trip. Thanks for stepping away, for sticking around, by the way, all two of you. I appreciate it. Sorry. More people will watch this than you too, though. All right, let's back out here. So, summer 2024 trip. This is it. Just for reference, it is. Can I do this way? 65 plus 48. So it's 11.3 thousand miles to do this trip. um, and that's and that, by the way, doesn't get me home. So something about maybe like, if I can swing it, maybe like riding back up and hopping on the tat like in Kansas when it's super boring and taking the tat home. I don't know yet. We'll see how much time is left. But basically, the trip is going to be it's going to be 11,300 miles before I start heading home. Let's walk you through it real quick. I'm so excited to talk. I've been planning this for a whole year, and I've had this GPS file done for like 4 months, and I posted to Reddit and gotten feedback from people on Reddit, which has been super helpful. But I was waiting to like get the 2024 GSA in and like lock down the Outrider stuff, lock down the Clearwater stuff, get the suspension on, order the knobby tires, verify all the pannier and like the luggage stuff is all figured out, like a whole bunch of stuff, and then re-verify with BMW that I have a spot on their trailer to go west. So like all this stuff was in motion, and so I was like anxious to talk about it, but I couldn't because like at any moment this could fall through. So what I've done here is I've merged the Oregon BDR and the Washington BDR. And so I'm not doing the full Oregon BDR. What I'll be doing is I'll be leaving Bend, Oregon, where the rally is, and then I'll be heading north on the Oregon BDR up to the Washington border, and then hopping on the Washington BDR up to the Canadian border right here. So Oregon plus Washington BDR is going to be 840 miles. If I happen to leave the rally like a day early, I may throw in the Oregon BDR like down to like maybe Klamath Lake or something, but I just don't know if I'm going to have the time considering I'm going all the way up to the Arctic Circle. So there's a kind of a lot of like unknowns there. Yeah, good question, Kyle. I'll get there. And I'm sorry that I'm going to hold your question for just a second, or I'm going to make you wait. So then we start our second portion of the trip, which is going to be the Washington BDR up to the top of the world to Tuck via Dawson City. I'm hoping, even with that condensed, like 65% of the BDR from Bend north, and you West Coasters are like, yeah, don't have to be so detailed, but East Coasters don't really know the relative distance. So 840 miles, 60% of those two BDRs combined. I don't know if I have enough time to get to Dawson City in time for the Dust to Dawson event. And so I don't have a hotel or a campsite booked. I'm just gonna like get there. And if I'm in Dawson the last day of the event, so be it. If I miss it, I'll just get a really cheap hotel room because everyone's left already. And so riding up to Dawson as quickly as possible. This is 2,400 miles from the Canadian border. This is pretty much pavement all the way up until you get to Dawson, which is right here-ish. Right? Oh, you can't see it where that last bend is. There. So dead center of the screen. So that last bend, you take a right-hand turn. That's basically you just had to go to Alaska, or you just had to go north to Tuck, and then you're on the Alaskan Highway all the way to the very end of it at the end of the road. Basically, it was just like built 3 or 4 years ago. So 2,400 miles, 51 hours of riding time with today's speed limits, all the way to the very top. I've done a lot of extensive planning up here, by the way. Lots of polar bears, lots of grizzlies, tons of animals, just super exciting. But when you get up here, There are some islands up here. There's not much to do from like a tourist perspective because this is just kind of all brand new. This is a community that's just been open to the rest of the world via a road. Lots of videos on YouTube if you're like a motorcycle YouTube watcher. And so when I get up there, there's like a guy that has like a fishing boat. He'll take you off to an island and like serve you whale and other like cool native foods. Um, you just walk around, you meet people. I'll be there for a night, take my time, and be thankful I didn't get eaten by a grizzly on the way up there. Once I hit Tuck, we're going to start our now Tuck to USA border road. That is 2,400 miles or 51 hours. So basically, there's no other road out of here. You have to go straight south. And I'll be doing this around the last couple of days of June, which is like peak black fly season. Like it's gonna be so bad. I'm gonna have a net in my like or tucked in my glove, put it over my helmet, come to a stop to look at my map or like drink some water, and then like get back on the bike and ride. I have some special stuff coming to like repel black flies, but there's not much you can really do about it. So back to the south, basically all the way to Dawson, it's the same road back. You just kind of turn around and come back. Prudhoe Bay would add like an extra like 5, 6, 7 days, and I want to be able to do more of the Continental Divide. So we're heading straight south. But instead of heading due south, back south into BC, we're going to stay in Yukon territory over to this road over here, which actually is like not really well traveled, as in like no one goes this way because it's an abandoned mine and like an old abandoned village where there's people living there, but like there's really not really an economic center or anything to do. But through Faro on this is like this road here is like 350 kilometers or 240 miles roughly to get back to the spot where previously on the way north to Dawson I took a left-hand turn at Upper Liard. Instead, I'll be going south down through here and then keeping going towards Alberta. Cool. So everyone's following along. So south through Alberta, still in BC or to Alberta. And then once we get there, we're not doing Edmonton and Calgary at all. I got great feedback online about how boring Edmonton and Calgary are. So what we'll be doing is we'll be following Highway 93 um, through Banff or Jasper to Banff. There is Route 40 over here off to the side that people say is unpaved, this yellow line north of the blue one. That's unpaved. It's a nice ADV route. It goes all the way south. Good feedback on this one. But 93 is that like famous Banff Jasper highway that everyone has videos and photos of. So I'm probably going to stick with 93. And I'm riding that south to Eureka, Montana. There's a little ranger station down here, a little airport. Now, at this point in the trip, let's just do a little quick recap. I would have ridden 830 plus, I would have ridden about 6,000 miles. And so in Eureka, or before Eureka, I may have to divert into Calgary for a day. I've got to get a 6,000 mile oil change on my GS because I'll be at 6,000 miles at this point in the trip. No problem. Moto Z, I shouldn't quote them on this. They're not watching this video. They were very confident that the Moto Z Tractionator GPS tires could get me 12,000 miles. They said be gentle, but they were confident in like a 10 to 12,000 mile range. So I'm hoping to do the whole trip down to Mexico on one set of tires. We'll see. Don't worry, I'm bringing spare tubes and I'm bringing plug kits and pumps. All right, cool. Wilson, nice to meet you. And I don't know where in BC you're from. I know I mean, you're probably in like Lethbridge, Calgary, or Edmonton. But oh no, sorry, BC. You're over here. I don't know where you are in BC then. I guess Vancouver's the population hub, but lots of space for you to be there. So this is my route north on the western side and south on the eastern side. Okay, so now that we've gotten here, we're going to be only a few miles from Glacier National Park. So we'll be heading south and we're switching gears here. We've decided to do a couple things. This is the part where I really want to get a little bit more detailed for just a minute to kind of like bring you all home. There's a great video. I highly encourage you watch it by Meerkat ADV. It probably has like 1 million views at this point because it's just a great, well done video. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours long. It's called Continental Divide the Hard Way. And I'm just going to type in, I'm just going to do a quick search here. I don't think I'm going to find it. Is it Lansley? I spelled it wrong, didn't I? Because I am a dumb American. Oh, you're on the board. So you're across from Bellingham. Sweet. Nice to meet you. So cancel this. Can you cancel that? Get out of here. Search. Search. Go away. Can I get rid of the search? Oh, that works. There we go. So let's show contents on map. So Meerkat's Continental Divide the Hard Way. Uh, it's a wonderful video. It's sit down, put it on your television, watch it. You're gonna love it. What he does is he takes Cannon Shot's Continental Divide route that is on ADV Rider since like 2006. Cannon Shot is I did his Upper Peninsula ride last year and just freaking loved it. Did I put it in here? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I'm getting off topic too much here. Basically, Cannon Shot's rides are amazing. He does a wonderful job on research. And so what Meerkat did is he started down here at the Mexican border along the wall, and then he added in a bunch of dual sport single track rides to Cannon Shot's kind of ADV friendly Continental Divide ride. So the Continental Divide ride from Cannon Shot is 2,900 miles. The Continental Divide, the hard way route by Meerkat is 2,600 miles. It's actually less miles, but it's really hard terrain. In fact, if you watch the Colorado portion, when I did the Colorado sections, Colorado trip in 2020 with my friends, we did Monarch Pass, Engineer Pass, um, Tellico Plains, Tamichi Pass. So I'm probably talking too loud. Let me pull my mic down because I'm getting too excited here. There we go. So we did all of these, a lot of these harder rides on my GS in August of 2020. That is in his video, not the single track stuff that's off of Pitkin. We didn't do that stuff. So that's the kind of hard stuff I'll skip. But what I was thinking is I'm going to follow Cannon Shot's files, but if you overlay these, if you do Cannon Shots in blue and Meerkats in red, you'll see that basically there's not a lot of variation. And so, for example, following Cannon Shot's blue route, but then going to this old abandoned enclosed uh, Canadian border crossing up here just for a picture. Awesome. It says like, closed permanently, do not cross. And then taking Pole Bridge down to Glacier National Park through dual sport trails in the GS. And hey, if it gets hard, I'll just turn back and do Cannon Shots routes. So all my GPS on my Garmin, I'll have the blue line and the red line. I'm not going to route. I'm just going to follow the line. I'll hop on the red. If it gets hard, turn back and hop back on the blue. And so I'm going to do that the entire ride there. And you'll see in a lot of these cases, the blue and the red, they basically overlap. And sometimes I'll be like, you know what, I don't really feel like doing a detour. I'll stay on the blue for the day because my butt's tired or my leg's tired or I haven't drank enough water. I'll just do the blue stuff, Cannon Shots files that are more big bike friendly. But occasionally I'll be like, here's a red thing off to the side in the Helena National Forest. What's that? And so that's going to be my trip kind of in a nutshell is, you know, do I take this little thing off to the side here? It's in red. That's supposedly a dual sport track. Or do I stay on the blue track and do things more cautiously? A lot of it also is going to come down to the fact that I'll be like 3 weeks into this trip and I might be freaking tired and be like, screw the dual sport stuff. I just want to stay on the nicer, fun, flowing forest roads that Cannon Shot picked out. Who knows? So, Tunnel Divide will follow straight south through Montana. It'll dip a little bit into Idaho, cross over into Wyoming. Just for record, here's the Wyoming BDR. So can I overlay both those in the same thing? Let's just move this here for just a second. So if you look at these side by side, the Wyoming BDR and the Continental Divide ride only intersect twice. They don't really overlap. So Wyoming BDR is going to be out of this trip. I want to stay true to the trip that Harry and I wanted to do in 2022. So then you go to Colorado, a lot of single track and stuff on the Meerkat route that I may avoid just because I've seen the video and some of it just doesn't look GS friendly, especially I'll be really exhausted by then. And then following this ride all the way down to the border, two things are going to happen. I'm going to hit this Four Corners area between New Mexico and Colorado, dead center of your screen. I might be exhausted and be homesick and miss my kid and my wife. And then I might just hop on the TAT from Colorado and ride that a little bit back to North Carolina, mix a TAT and highway, whatever feels right to me at that point. I'll have the TAT on the GPS. And so I may not even get through New Mexico at all. I was warned that New Mexico in July is going to be blisteringly hot but not rainy season yet. And so we'll see. I can't really tell you guys what I'm going to do. I have no idea. Let's stop for a second to talk to the chat just for a minute so I can answer your questions. There's been a few that have come in, so I appreciate you guys watching. Some of you may have already left, and I'm sorry. Kersey, thank you, or Kersey Corey. Pleasure to meet you. And yeah, I have all of my videos set to premiere at midnight as an ode to my European watchers. Some of the guys that are 6, 7 a.m. in London or 9 a.m. in other countries like Poland. No, Poland is 7 or 8. Anyway, shout out to the European friends. Is that riding a certain amount of miles a day or time wise? The beautiful thing about this is I have a solid 4 weeks. Solid 4 weeks. Um, so I don't have a budget. Being someone who loves iron butt rides, so my longest ride is 1,150 miles in a day of pavement. I'm thinking the ride from I'm thinking like Bellingham to Dawson, Yukon, like a straight shot. Like just do it in one day. Ride all day, get exhausted, uh, fall asleep at a rest area for 2 or 3 hours, get up and just get to Dawson. I don't plan on stopping as much as I want to. One of the stories I heard around July is someone was doing Prudhoe Bay and they didn't realize they'd been riding for like 15 hours, but it was still daylight, so it was like 11:30 p.m. and they were like still riding and exhausted. And so sleep deprivation can be a problem if you just don't realize because you don't have a reference point in the sky of how long it's been riding. So we'll see. How many riders from Stan? Good question. One. One person, Stan. So I am certain from the ride out of the MOA rally on the Oregon and Washington BDR, there'll be a lot of people. It's a 5,000 person rally. A lot of people will be heading north through the BDRs, not like everyone, but some. And then I imagine on the road to Dawson, there's only one road to Dawson, and so there'll be a lot of riders on that. And then it's a popular jumping off point to do Tuck. And so I also anticipate a few hundred riders will be riding a Tuck at the exact same time, just as like just a nature of 500 people being in Dawson City for this Dust to Dawson event. Or is it like 1,000 people? The road south, who knows? But it'll be just me. I am really looking forward to a solo trip. Has nothing to do with my wife and kid, but I like riding alone, camping alone. Even I always tell people, taking motorcycle trips with people is the most fun you can have alone with other people. So you're in your helmet, you got your own music going. I have a no comms rule. You got your own music going. You're on your own ride. Just there's 3 or 4 people around you, and you're all sleeping in the same campsite. You're still doing your own ride. And so I find motorcycle like travel to be really conducive to just my style of life. I'm just I like being alone. Uh, Thank you, ADV poser. I doubt you're a poser, but thank you and congrats on the GSA. I appreciate that. Uh, Hail season in Colorado. Yeah, so the 2022 Colorado trip, which is on the YouTube channel, this channel that you're on, I'm speaking in third person for some reason, or speaking removed. Uh, it was like the first day of September, and we were doing Engineer Pass, and it snowed overnight, and we were like, "Whoa!" Because in Moab it was 105 degrees, and then in Lake City, Colorado, it was like it dipped below 25 or something. It was like, "Whoa!" It's just weird temperature change. Yeah, I don't know what to expect. Like, I'm gonna do the Continental Divide ride, but if conditions are bad, this will be the second week of July. If conditions are bad, then yeah, I'll have to do go arounds. The problem is this: getting out to Oregon uh, is a nearly free trip, and I don't have to spend my time riding out there. I just fly into Oregon, and my bike's there. And so I'm really at the mercy of the BMW rally schedule because I have to be there anyway for the board activities. And so this is just kind of like tying all this stuff together. Okay, we've gone too long as always. This was a fun video to make though. Let me zoom out one more time and just kind of show you guys the whole view of this trip in aggregate. It's this beautiful trip that we're working on. So yeah, it's gonna be wild. From Bend, Oregon to Tuck to down to Tucson, and then I would love to cross the Mexico border, just just like just for a few miles, get a beer and some food, enjoy some music, get a hotel for the night, and then cross back over and ride home any which way I please. That's the plan. So in total, I did the math actually. Let me just throw it up one more time. So if I do the math from, it's my last thing that I'll leave you guys with. So from Tucson to Charlotte, straight, interstate, that's going to be 2,000 miles. And so when you look at all these combined, you're looking at, what did I say, 11.3? So 13,300 miles for the whole trip. So in Arizona, if I don't have already slashed a tire on accident, I'm going to need new tires in Tucson. And I'll put on my trusty Anarchy 3s or Anarchy Adventures and ride the 2,000 miles home. Cool. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching. This has been a lot of fun to put this up. I've been like anticipation on this trip, and I cannot wait to do it. Oh, last thing. People are going to ask me, are you going to do live vlogging? Is it going to be daily videos like some of those people that are motorcycle travelers do, or they're going to be Instagram posts? No. I think it's going to be a social media blackout for this trip. I don't have any plans to even worry with that, to commit to a daily post or a journal post or a blog post or Instagram or anything. Um, I'll have an inReach, and so my wife can follow me everywhere I go. But no, I'm just gonna unplug, and the video will come out when I get to it because I have a kid now. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you June 13th at the MOA rally. I will see you May 5th on Tail the Dragon. I have a trip to Tail the Dragon. Um, you might see me in Tellico Plains at the Big Bike ADV rally that's coming up in a week or two. But if not, I'll see you on one of these roads between June 19th and like July 15th.